Will it be deja vu all over again in the 2024 presidential election? President Joe Biden expected to announce he will run for a second term soon. We expect perhaps this Tuesday. Donald Trump has already announced on the Republican side, of course, he's casting a large shadow over other GOP hopefuls. Joining us now to talk about this, CNN political commentators Maria Cardona and Alice Stewart, co-hosts of the podcast Hot Mics from Left to Right. Maria, let's start with President Biden's big announcement expected on Wednesday. And by the way, we've just learned he's planning to make Julie Chavez Rodriguez, a senior White House advisor, the person who's overseeing his reelection campaign. She's the granddaughter of labor organizer Cesar Chavez. So that's very big news. But let me just throw this out there for you, Maria. What about some of this latest polling that shows a majority of Democrats, we're talking about in the Democratic Party, want to see some fresh faces. They don't want to see Joe Biden. Caveat always being, Joe Biden is used to this. He's used to this.
So let me start with my dear friend, Julie Chavez Rodriguez.
I knew you were going to do that anyway, yeah.
It is historic.
Yeah.
The first time a Latina or Latino, Latinx has this historic title, campaign manager for a sitting president's reelection. And I couldn't be more thrilled, more proud. This shows the hard work that she has proven for so many decades. There is no one better than her that knows the intersection of politics and grassroots outreach, campaigning, what it really means to have the pulse of the nation and the communities at her fingertips, and being able to advise and guide and essentially manage the reelection campaign for the next president of the United States. So I am so thrilled and so proud, and such a great, great day and great news for the campaign. On the numbers, look, you know this, and you alluded to it. Low poll numbers, people second guessing him, people having low expectations, exactly. People underestimating him. This is where this man eats dinner.
Yeah.
This is not new for him. He doesn't care about this. He's going to focus on his massive historic accomplishments in the first 4 years, the first term, the first 2 years as well. It's why Democrats did so well in the midterm elections, and this is going to be his focus moving forward.
Alice, Donald Trump does not, he has lots of problems, but this is not one of them. Let's look at this. He's well ahead of his closest potential competitor, Ron DeSantis, in polling from the Wall Street Journal and NBC. We saw this poll coming out earlier today. He's way ahead of DeSantis. Another AP NORSC poll shows that 44% of Republicans don't want to see him run again. What do you think? What about these numbers? I know you have made the case time and again. There's going to be an anti-Trump candidate out there who's going to emerge in all of this. But these numbers make it pretty much tough sledding.
Right.
With these other candidates.
Looking right now at the stats you just put about the GOP primary, it's really clearly a two-man race at this point with Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. And while Donald Trump right now is in double digits ahead of DeSantis, DeSantis has not gotten into the race yet. He has not put out his strategy. And the reason we know that this is a concern for Donald Trump continues to go after DeSantis time and time again. And he only does that if he sees someone as a threat. And look, DeSantis, the Florida governor, is smart. He is pushing back against Donald Trump and saying that we need to have more of a positive, optimistic vision for the future, and pushing back on Donald Trump and all of the things that Donald Trump stands for in terms of election lies and conspiracy theorists. We're going to see a whole new ball game once he gets into the race. But look, there's tremendous ambivalence across the board with Trump as well as Biden. We see the poll numbers show that nearly 70% of Americans, Republicans and Democrats, do not want Biden to run. Similar numbers, they don't want Donald Trump to run. So what we're seeing is that most Americans do not want to see a sequel of a Biden-Trump matchup in 2024. Sequels might be popular in the box office, but not so much at the ballot box. So it will be interesting to see. Obviously, Biden is the top of the ticket for the Democrats. It's not a foregone conclusion that Donald Trump is the GOP.
Sequel's usually not as good as the original, too,
Exactly.
is what a lot of folks say. Sometimes it happens. But Maria, she brought up Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
Let's watch.
Yeah.
He still hasn't announced, but he's sure acting like he's running. He took this thinly veiled swipe at Trump at an event in Utah yesterday. Let's listen.
Republicans need to shake the culture of losing that has developed in recent years. The time for excuses is over. We must get it done. If we as Republicans provide a fresh vision for American revival, then Republicans will win all across the country.
He's heading overseas this week. He's facing issues at home with donors, activists, Florida lawmakers in D.C. We've seen Florida Republicans already announce that they're going to go for Donald Trump, which is kind of not good for Ron DeSantis at this point.
Yeah.
But Maria, you know, there's a lot of time
There's a
for him
lot
to
of
make
time.
up
That's right.
ground.
That's right. There's no question. Alice is right. We haven't really seen what the
And I don't mean to
primary
interrupt, but he
campaign.
stacks up better against Joe Biden according to the polling.
They do.
And again, polling right now really means nothing on either side. But what you see on the other side with Ron DeSantis should be concerning because it's a trend, right? He is fizzling in the polls. The trend is that he's not going up, he's going down. That's not what you want to see right at the point where you're going to launch. He just talked about losing. What about losing the endorsements of your own congressional delegation? I mean, that to me speaks volumes. And what we've heard from these people is that they have known him for years. It's not an issue of, well, they don't know him, which is the argument you can make about the American people. These are people that know him, have known him for years, and have said he is not a likable guy.
Look,
and so that is not a good place to be right before you launch your election campaign.
I know my dear friend Maria and our fellow Democrats would love nothing more than to just take DeSantis down at this point and not have him be a viable contender. Because to your point, Jim, the polls show in the general election, not the primaries, the general election head-to-head with Biden and Trump, Biden is ahead 3 points. In the general election head-to-head with Biden and DeSantis, DeSantis is ahead 3 points. So I'm sure they would much rather take on Donald Trump and DeSantis, but that's not.
But here's my question, Alice. You know, and you know these numbers all, so well. Why doesn't the rest of the Republican Party see that? Because wouldn't you think that having Ron DeSantis at the top of the ticket is going to be much better for all of these down ballot candidates? I mean, theoretically speaking, at this point, we don't know what's going to happen between now and Election Day 2024 than Donald Trump. But yet, if you look at the poll numbers, Trump is so out in front of DeSantis right now. And as Maria's saying, he's showing some signs of fizzling.
Right,
you know.
and you know how this works. When we're talking about GOP voters, the Republican base, Donald Trump does have the support right now at this stage of the game. But again, they have not, DeSantis and these other top names out there have not hit the campaign trail with the full message to show the contrast and put them head to head. But you know, we hear from the evangelical leaders in Iowa and rational Republicans across the country. They are ready to turn the page. They are ready for character over chaos. They
don't
are
see that
ready
yet.
for someone that supports the policies of Trump, but is not the dumpster
But
fire that he is.
very quickly, Jim, let me be very clear. I actually don't want to see a rematch of Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And I think that's where all of those numbers are. Why? Because it was so toxic because of all of the trash and disgusting issues and rhetoric that was coming out of Donald Trump. I would love for it to be DeSantis and Joe Biden because I believe that absolutely Joe Biden will win against DeSantis, who wants to go for book banning, banning rights for women, banning rights for LGBTQ community, being authoritarian in Florida. His own people don't like him. I don't think the American people will like him. So bring it on if it is DeSantis. I hope that it is for the sake of the country, and Joe Biden will beat him hands down.
All right. Thanks, ladies, very much. Appreciate it. We'll have to leave it there. We're going to hang on to that tape.
Yeah,
Play
she
it.
said it.
Please do.
You
All
heard
right.
it here.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much, ladies. Appreciate it. All right.